Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Associate Professor Engineer Dr. Ahmad Rashidi Razali, Deputy Rector, Academic Affairs, exercising the function of Director, UiTM Pulau Pinang Branch, Mr. Akash Suri, Public Diplomacy Officer, United States of America Embassy in Malaysia, executive members of UiTM, Shah Alam, and branch campuses, distinguished speakers, Ms. Ameera Kamalrudin, Higher Education Coordinator, USA Embassy in Malaysia, Ms. Fatimah Az-Zahra Norazman, Cultural Affairs Assistant, YSEALI, USA Embassy in Malaysia, the committee members of UiTM Pulau Pinang Branch, representative from US Embassy, UiTM, Public and Private Higher Learning Institution, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam keluarga UiTM, salam keluarga Teguh Bersama. Welcome to the Embassy Speaker Program, Education and Exchange Opportunities in the United States of America. It has been a pleasure for me to navigate the event this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, to kick off our event this morning, I would like to call upon on stage Associate Professor Engineer Dr. Ahmad Rashidi Razali, Deputy Rector, Academic Affairs, exercising the function of Director, UiTM Pulau Pinang Branch, to deliver his welcoming speech. Dr. Rashidi, the floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wasahbihi ajma'in. Thank you, Moderator, Associate Professor Dr. Hashim Fazil Arifin. He is also the Head of Center Studies, Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, UiTM Pulau Pinang Branch. The Honorable Mr. Akash Suri, Public Diplomacy Officer, United States of America Embassy in Malaysia, executive members of University of Az-Zahra, UiTM, Shah Alam and branch campuses, distinguished speakers, Ms. Ameera Kamalrudin, Higher Education Coordinator, United States of America Embassy in Malaysia, Ms. Fatimah Az-Zahra Norazman, Cultural Affairs Assistant, YSEALI, United States of America Embassy in Malaysia, the committee members of UiTM Pulau Pinang Branch, representative from US Embassy, UiTM, Public and Private Higher Learning Institution, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings, salam keluarga UiTM, salam keluarga Malaysia, Teguh Bersama. Alhamdulillah, let us extend our sincere gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for giving us the opportunity to be here today. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, the Honorable Professor Dato Technologist Dr. Hazza Roziah Muhammad Jano, and the management of the University of Az-Zahra UiTM, it is my pleasure to convey my sincere appreciation to the US Embassy in Malaysia and the committee members for making this event a success. It is a great honor for me to be here in this Embassy Speaker Program, Education and Exchange Opportunities in the United States of America, organized by Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, University of Az-Zahra, Pulau Pinang Branch, led by Dr. Nur Hidayah Cik Ahmad. Ladies and gentlemen, as the largest comprehensive university in Malaysia, UiTM has expanded its visibility through collaborations with universities worldwide. It continues to provide access to higher education, playing its role in nation building by unleashing potentials and shaping the future. We genuinely look forward to this partnership between UiTM and US Embassy. This partnership is a vital step for us because we are moving towards achieving the missions and aspirations of UiTM to go international. UiTM offers opportunities to shape leaders at national, industrial, and global levels, and is well poised to become a globally renowned university by 2025. To date, UiTM Pulau Pinang Branch has been working closely with Iowa State University, Iowa and DePaul University, Chicago in a series of international webinars in 2020, 2021, 2022, and today mark another continuous effort. The Embassy Speakers Program, Education and Exchange Opportunities in the United States of America. The intention of this webinar series is to foster and grab the chance to embark or enroll in any potential programs with United States especially in nurturing talents and enhancing human capital. Ladies and gentlemen, before I end my speech, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to everyone whose dedication and efforts have contributed to this event. I strongly believe that with continuous support and commitment from all, including the eminent speakers from the US Embassy, this partnership will continue to grow and become stronger. Look forward to seeing you again, and we will have more engagement programs with our partners. With that, I hereby declare the Embassy Speaker Program, Education and Exchange Opportunities in the United States of America officially open. Happy 65th anniversary Malaysian Independence Day. Selamat Hari Merdeka. Wassalam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ahmad Rashidi, for your very interesting speech just now. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the next agenda of today's event. I'd like to call upon on stage Mr. Akash Suri, the Public Diplomacy Officer from the US Embassy in Kuala Lumpur. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hashim. Thank you also to Dr. Ahmad for those opening remarks. We appreciate that. We're here today to talk about exchange opportunities in the United States and study abroad opportunities in the United States. Before we get to my two very knowledgeable colleagues on this topic, Fatimah and Ameera, I just want to open it up by talking a little bit about why exchanges are so important to us. Our ambassador often says that exchanges, study abroad, are two of the most important things that we do as a U.S. embassy here in Malaysia. He's been around the world. He's seen many embassies and missions around the world, and he knows how important that is because he knows that through those programs, we build sort of the next generation bridge between the United States and Malaysia. So many of Malaysia's leaders today have maybe 20 or 30 years ago been on exchange programs like the ones we're going to talk about today. And we want to ensure that that's going to continue to happen well into the future. So we're going to talk about a number of different opportunities that you have to go to the United States and experience what the United States is about. First, we're going to talk about that through education, through studying in the United States. As myself and Ameera are both products of American universities and American education. And so, of course, we feel that they're the best in the world. But I don't think that's just in terms of the quality of instruction you're going to receive or the level of the research that goes on there, but also just in terms of American style of education, which is so heavily dependent on participation, discussion, dissenting views, speaking up, and then, of course, just the college campus culture that's very unique to American universities, which revolves around being involved, starting your own sort of organizations and clubs and publications, etc. You'll meet other students there. You'll start your own things. The entrepreneurship ecosystem on American college and university campuses is second to none. So when you go to the US for study abroad, you come back not only with what I think is a world-class education in a very technical sense, but also a set of skills and a sort of culture that you'll want to replicate when you come home. I've seen this time and time again in my other postings around the world that students go study in the US and they bring back with them many ideas for what they want to see change in their own communities, and they try to implement those, and they adapt that to whatever the local culture and requirements are and make it their own in their own ways. Secondly, we're going to talk about exchange programs, and specifically Fatimah is going to talk about the YSEALI program, the Young Southeast Asian Leadership Initiative. This has quickly become one of our flagship programs around the world for the US government. It seeks to identify young Malaysians, young promising Malaysians already taking up leadership roles at their colleges and their communities and send them to the US to either embed within local civil society organizations or to study on college campuses. Sometimes you're selected for regional workshops. We held one in Kuala Lumpur a couple of weeks ago on diversity and inclusion. In regional workshops where you bring together young leaders from across the region for a few days to talk about specific topics. So we did one earlier in the summer on digital connectivity. We just did one on diversity and inclusion, and we have one coming up on using gaming to express sort of social concepts and ideas. So very specific topics. Fatima will talk about all of those options that you have through the YSEALI program and through all of our exchange programs like Fulbright or some others that we have. It's not just about that core experience, just like studying abroad is not just about the degree. It's about the network that you create and the relationships that you make with not only Americans, but with the other young leaders from across the Southeast Asian region. Just those WhatsApp groups you have or the email chains that you have become a real like powerful sounding board for you to all support one another as you go on these journeys to create change within your communities. Like I said, there's not just study abroad, there's not just YSEALI, there's other opportunities. There's this whole suite of programs through the Fulbright sort of suite of exchange opportunities. You can find out more about that just by Googling Fulbright Malaysia, which will take you to the correct website and places. But, and I know this is very typical to say, the best place to learn about all of the exchange opportunities is through Embassy social media. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever, and you'll know the latest about when applications open, when deadlines are, and you'll also get to see who's traveling and what kind of experiences they're having, which I hope motivates you all to apply in the future. I will leave it at that. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you again to UITM and everyone organizing this program. I look forward to seeing many applications for our exchange programs and to American universities from the students at UITM. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Akash Suri, on your insightful performance just now. Ladies and gentlemen, next we move on to our next item on our agenda. I would like to call upon on stage Madam Ameera Kamalrudin, Higher Education Coordinator from US Embassy in Kuala Lumpur, to talk about study and education opportunities in the USA. Madam Ameera, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Hashim. And hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for our session. I am so happy to talk to you about studying in the US. Like Akash mentioned previously, I am a product of a US university myself, and thus right now I'm just kind of like passing the torch, promoting US education because I do believe that a lot of Malaysians could benefit from US education. And even if you're currently already studying in UiTM for your degree, it's not too late to apply for a master's program or perhaps a PhD in the future. Or if you have like any siblings or any juniors or mentees that you might want to expose to US education, this presentation will be for you. So let's just also begin with just talking about Education USA and what we do here in Malaysia. So, Education USA is a US Department of State network of international students advising centers all over the world, which means that we are directly funded by the US government to help raise awareness and also promote higher education in the US. We are your official source of US higher education. Anything, any new updates, any new regulations can be confirmed with us. We should have like the first hand knowledge of what is going on right there in terms of higher education. We aim to provide accurate, comprehensive, and current information about opportunities to study in the US to Malaysians here. And we currently have two advising centers. One is in Kuala Lumpur and another one is in Penang. And on top of that, we also offer virtual advising. So I'll share the contact information at the end of this presentation. But before that, we also work according to the five steps framework of US studies. So the first one, we help students on how to research their options. Next, financing their studies, completing applications, visa, and finally preparing for their departure. So we aim to help students at every step of the way before they fly to the US. So we don't want to just leave them unprepared after we have promoted the US education. So the first part of my presentation is just to enlighten you guys on the merits of studying in the US. Although I might sound biased because I did get my tertiary education over there, but I'll try to be really objective and just give you like really objective reasons on why a higher education opportunity in the US should be considered. So there are five factors. One is quality, second is choice, diversity, flexibility, and opportunity. So for quality, I would say that the higher education in the US is very high quality and US degrees are highly regarded globally. So um, It's one of the countries with the earliest higher education systems in the world, and our U.S. degrees are highly regarded globally. U.S. universities usually advance in research and have state of the art facilities for their students. Also, students will be able to foster strong connections with industry experts, so you'll be able to intern directly under big US companies, as well as work alongside notable faculty members who has published articles and conduct like research in current breakthrough fields. And then the last one is US higher education will produce well-rounded graduates and global citizens. Obviously, I will be elaborating further on this later. But before that, I just also want to show you guys some examples on how um higher education institutions in the US has been making research advancements, especially in healthcare, and also how they have been fostering collaborations with industry giants so far. So these are the kind of opportunities that you can get if you enroll in a US higher education institution, or even work with them in terms of, you know, fostering partnerships or um, working together in the future. And then the second point is choice. So there are more than 4,000 US accredited US higher education institutions, and these are made up of four major categories. So the first one is public universities, which are funded by local and state government. The second one are private universities, which rely mainly on tuition fees and also private sources of funding. So while on the surface, public universities might seem like the cheaper option compared to private, but private universities do offer more financial aid in terms of awards or alumni scholarships or tuition waivers. So this should be factored into consideration as well while choosing your school of choice. And then there are also liberal arts colleges, single sex colleges, and religiously affiliated colleges, which we kind of like categorize them under universities with a special focus. And finally, there are community colleges that offers 2 year degrees, associate degrees for 2 years period of study, which more often than not, students will advance to a 4 year college and get their bachelor degree. And then students are also choosing their location, what we advise is try to not only look at the rankings. Like, first of all, Education USA does not support any specific rankings when it comes to choosing their universities, but also other factors to consider includes location. So since the US is a really really big country, like even one state is bigger than Malaysia overall, so we often encourage students to factor in like location. Do they prefer the city or the town? And then also climate. Do they prefer somewhere warmer or do they prefer somewhere colder to stay for their 4 year study there or more? And also, the final factor that student often overlook is also like student population. So some universities are more diverse than others. Also, although I would say that US universities have been working towards advancement in including more diverse student population. And why diversity is a very important factor is also because it's the number one host country in the world, and in 2020/2021, US university has hosted like more than 900,000 international students. And this is a big advantage for students going to the US, because when you go to the United States, you're not only meeting Americans and you're not only mingling with Americans and Malaysians who go with you, but you also have the experience of meeting people from all over the world. So even in a classroom, you'll be seeing people from Japan, from China, Korea, New Zealand, India. So all over the world. So you will be able to expand your horizon even beyond the American population. And a lot of students also ask us about, fitting in or about being a visible Muslim on campus. I would say you don't have to worry about that because day by day, year by year, US universities are celebrating diversity. They are trying to make space for a more diverse student population, like and thus in to do that, they do have like strong DEI initiative, which stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. They have international team days or weeks. They have internationally oriented courses in order to also provide Americans with more knowledge and more awareness of how the rest of the world works. And finally, they also have like a lot of international student organizations and clubs. And more often than not, students are also encouraged to start your own clubs or start your own organizations for their own international student communities. So students, Malaysian students, don't have to worry about fitting in or trying to I would say adapt to the US culture, because I would say over the years it has progressed, universities have progressed to be like a very safe place for international students to be in and mingle and get get a more well-rounded experience outside of just getting class credits and um other opportunities. And then the next point is flexibility. So in terms of creating your like curating your own higher education journey, US universities are very flexible, which means that students have the opportunities to kind of like come up with their own schedule, choose their own classes. Even for some universities, they even allow students to create their own majors. So once you are admitted to a university, you will be starting with an undeclared major, and students have the first 2 years to decide on what they want to study for the rest of their time in the US. So they only have to declare the major at the end of the second year. So this gives students a lot of flexibility in terms of exploring the courses that they are interested in, because some students think that they want to study one subject, one field, and then once they've taken like 2 3 classes, they decided that, oh, it might not be the field for them. So being in a US universities, more often than not, you have the chance to switch majors or switch fields before you declare your major, and even after you declare your major you still have the opportunities to change it. um just some technical glossary thing. Major is a specific subject area students specialize in, and there's also minor, which is a complementary secondary subject or field of study. So you can major in, let's say, linguistics and minor in creative arts or creative writing. That is possible. And you also have the chance to double major, which means that you can major in linguistics and creative writing together. So usually students who double major would have to take like more credits than students who don't do the double major, just because you need like enough credits for both majors. But US universities also, or some departments also, work together to make sure that one subject can um fulfill the requirements of two majors if the two majors are related. So you shouldn't have any issue graduating on time. And you also have the choice to get a dual degree if you are planning to major in courses under different schools. So let's say you're doing biochemistry in the School of Science and Arts, and then you want to double major in engineering, which is offered in the School of Engineering. Then you'll be graduating with a dual degree instead of a double major. And some schools also offer students with chance to take classes for their master's degree in their last year of undergraduate, which means that once you graduated with your 4 years bachelor degree, you already have like 1 year master's fulfilled, and you just have to do another year to graduate with a master's degree. So this means that if you want to, this means that you'll graduate like earlier than your peers who starts master's degree after your bachelor degree. And for some students, they would opt for this route because they want to finish their master's degrees faster. And then there are also elective classes. So this could be a hit or miss, because some students really don't like exploring classes outside of their major. They think that it's a waste of time. They think that they're not going to enjoy it and it's unnecessary. But in the US, universities focus on producing well-rounded global citizens, which means that students are also exposed to classes outside of their major, and not only exposed, students are also encouraged and most of the times actually required to take classes outside of their majors. So in order to fulfill this, US universities also offer a lot of classes like this. These are called elective, and usually these classes are, I would say, relatively easier and doesn't require you to major in the field to understand or to pass the class. So just a few example, for this school they have classes for Africana studies, and then biology, children and youth studies, communication arts and economics. So for, because these are elective classes, let's say you are interested to take the econ class, you these classes are designed in such a way that you don't have to major in econ to understand the concept. So these are much easier to score, and I would say a benefit that I've seen is if you are majoring in very critical or very hard courses, these elective classes can actually be the easy classes to help you get your grades up every semester. And then finally, the opportunities over there, there's just a lot of opportunities that you can grab as students there. So students can participate in research labs and work directly under notable professors, you know, like the ones that I've showed before, like all the advancement in healthcare, even undergraduate students. So you don't have to be graduate students in the US to participate in research. If you enroll in research universities that has a lot of funding for research, then you can definitely be an undergraduate and still work in research labs. Write your thesis under supervision of field experts. So after you've graduated, then you will be a very highly sought after candidate for master's program or even PhD programs. And then you can curate your own learning journey, which gives you independence and also give you the ability to figure out what works for you throughout your 4 years. Um, Students will be able to expand your horizons, like I mentioned, through the elective classes. You can learn about things that otherwise you won't know about if you've only taken classes in your degree. And finally, you can participate in conferences and intern with industry leaders. And essentially, these are just, you know, making connections with the people who might be useful to you once you've graduated from university and once you've entered employment. So these are, I would say, like one of the most valuable thing that I myself gain is definitely making connections with notable people in their fields and still keeping and maintaining that connections now, even as a working adult. And for international students in the US, you can also gain work experience using your visa. So OPT is optional practical training. It's kind of like a visa extension which allows you to work for up to 3 years after you graduate. So a lot of students actually opt for this. You start looking for jobs in your senior year, and then once you've gotten the job, you can just extend your visa and stay for another 1 year. If you're a non-STEM holder, and extend it for another 2 years for a total of 3 years if you're a STEM degree holder. And then some students even like after they've done their OPT, their employer make them permanent staff and they continue working at in the US with a work visa. So this is definitely an opportunity that a lot of international students benefit from. All right. Done with all of that, why you should study in the US, I'm going to proceed my presentation with talking about how Education USA support Malaysian students who are interested to learn more and who are interested to study in the US. So, like I've mentioned before, we work based on the 5 steps framework, which means that we help you from research to finding financial aids to completing application, visa, and also departing Malaysia for the US. For the first step, which is research, I would say this is the most important step because a lot of students, especially those under scholarship, they would think that um this is just a step that they can kind of skip or they kind of don't have to pay attention to, so they'll just select or let's say the top 3 unis on one ranking, or just like 3 unis that they've heard about and just apply to those universities, which means that they are also neglecting the fact that there are more than 4,000 accredited education institutions in the US. So I would say for the first step, we help you find your best fit, and it's very important to know that best fit is different for each student. So while some people might see the Ivy League as the only desirable school, some students don't even want to be in Ivy Leagues because they know that they don't want to be in that environment. So how Education USA help is we talk to students, we counsel them, we listen to their needs, and also give suggestions on like where they can apply, or like what is there for them according to their academic lifestyle and also miscellaneous needs, as per the mini Venn diagram on the right. And then there are also four options to attending a US university that Malaysian students often don't know about. So first, you can apply directly to US universities after SPM. It will be a bit more competitive as you will only have like 11 years of school compared to 12 years of school as per the American education system, but it is doable definitely. And then you'll attend US universities for 4 years. And then the second option is foundation program. So A levels, OSMET, Canadian matriculation are all eligible for you to apply to the US. Are all eligible foundation programs for you to take if you want to apply to the US after you've completed your I would say foundation diploma. Uh, but the con to this is you'll apply as a first year university student and attend university for 4 years. So your length of study would be slightly longer. The third option is to apply for an American degree transfer program in Malaysia, complete it for 1 or 2 years, and then finish the remaining of your study over there. So the popular route is either 1+3 or 2+2. And finally, you can also attend community college for 2 years and transfer to a US higher education institution for the remaining 2 years. For community college, you can apply right after SPM. So this is also something that most Malaysians are not aware about, that you can apply for community college right after SPM and go there for 2 years and then transfer to a US institution. So, moving on to step two, we have multiple types of financial aids that we talk to students about. So, there's the international student loan, government local scholarship. So, Education USA also assists students who are trying to apply for, like I say, Mara, JPA, Bank Negara, or Kazana scholarships with the intention of studying in the US. We can also assist you with that. We have US university or colleges scholarships or financial aids. This is like the one I've mentioned previously when I was talking about private universities. These are usually either fee waivers or awards, or like smaller scholarships that are stackable. And finally, student can also you can also guide student on how they can secure employment in order to finance their lifestyle there. I would say for student employment alone, it would be pretty hard to fund your like pay your fees using the money you gain from student employment, but it would be okay like as a pocket money or like supplemental fund for you when you're there. And this is also the cost of living in the US. So this is something that we also tell our advisees about before they even start planning for their schools. Like they have to consider the cost of living in the US and which states are more expensive, which states are the least expensive, especially if money is a big concern for them. So we provide I won't say like financial literacy education, but I would say we do provide this information so that students are more informed. And finally, no, not finally, the third step is application. So once they have shortlisted the schools, and once they have figured out like which financial aids are available for them, we also guide students through their university application. So if you're not familiar, the US university application process is holistic, which means that it takes into consideration test scores, university or pre-university or high school transcripts, essays, as well as recommendation letters by teachers or counselors. So some students might find it hard because it's also a very tedious process as you have to complete multiple components before you submit your application. But Education USA also provides services in such a way that we host essay workshop. We have like workshopping session with universities and also with individuals to help them with their essays. We guide students on what questions should they ask to their counselors in order to gain like a high quality recommendation letter. So we give this kind of thoughts to students as well to help them throughout the way. And this is also the application timeline that we recommend to our advisees. So we recommend them to start researching 12 months prior to the time they want to enroll in US university. So if you are targeting to go in August 2023, then you should start researching now and start applying this year. So we do help students throughout the entire process of application up until they fly to the US. And we also offer information and consultation when it comes to F1 visa. Do note that we are not under the consular office in the embassy, so we can't give like direct advice on your visa in terms of the processing process, or like when will you be getting it, or when will you hear back and things like that. But we can give you comprehensive guidance on what to prepare for your visa, what kind of fees you have to pay, and like um how do you make sure that your interview uh goes smoothly and successfully. And then we also give students the awareness that they can work with F1 visa. Like I mentioned before, students have the opportunities to participate or apply for optional practical training after they graduate. And even before they graduate, they are able to work part-time on campus for 20 hours per week, up to 40 hours per week during semester break. So like I mentioned, the benefits of working in the US is you can foster long lasting connections with your bosses, supervisors, or even your colleagues that you can maintain after graduation. And finally, at step five, we also help students before they fly to the US. So we give annual briefings on pre-departure. So we talk to them about general packing, about health information, finances. We also connect them with current US students in their schools or even US alumni for them to share some tips or insights about their own experience. So these are all I'm going to talk about today. I'm just going to like show this for you guys to scan for an advising appointment if any of you is interested to learn more about studying in the US or have questions. And do follow us on social media and get in touch with our advisors as well. Like I mentioned, we have a KL center and a Penang center right now. And the Penang center is located at Penang Science Cluster. So if anyone from UiTM Penang is interested to meet up with our advisor, do contact her at the email on the screen, and she should be able to get back to you and schedule a session for you. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Amira. Amira, when I was listening to your presentation, that brings back my memory when I was in the US. The US one, I-95, I-20, and of course, the
Mm-hmm.
South Beach of Miami. I was in Miami last time, in
Oh, that's
South
a nice
Florida.
place.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have another speakers that will talk about something education. All right, we have another speakers that will talk about another topic. But ladies and gentlemen, you ain't seen nothing yet unless you sit back, relax, and enjoy the presentation. Now we move on to another session of today's event. We would like to call upon on stage. Oh, all right. Okay, I get another cue from the producer. We have the Q&A sessions for the first round of the presentation. So I would like to see what are the questions that have been posted by our viewers just now. All right, we have one question from the YouTube channel. Okay, from Fu Teng Ho. Can foreign students doing part-time jobs, Amira?
Hi, yes, under a student visa, you can do a part-time job in on campus. It's limited on to on campus only, but do note that just because it's on campus doesn't mean that it's only, dining hall or cafeteria jobs. So there are multiple jobs on campus that you can explore. Let's say you are a STEM student, you can work under a research lab, you can work in the hospital, the campus hospital, campus bookstores. There are multiple job on top of research.
All right. We move on to the next question. What are the requirements to pursue internship in the US? I remember last time I did my internship with the Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines and Miami Hilton when I was there. So
Oh
perhaps this question is
wow.
very current. What are the requirements to pursue internship in the US?
So for internship, it depends on like who or like which company you are interning for. They usually have different requirements for like a regular job or part-time job. Every employer would have different set of requirements. But I would say do check with your international officer as well when you're there, because you might have to fill in some sort of declaration to them depending on like how long the employment is and at what stage the employment is. Is it a summer break employment or like after graduation internship? So it really differs according to the school and your employers as well.
Yeah. All right. That's interesting. It's really brings back my memory when I was there. Yeah, working there, and of course, the experience studying in the US. We move on to the next question, Amira. Are prospective students covered under any medical or accidents insurance for summer school or exchange program?
So for
Covered.
international students, they make it obligatory for you to have a health insurance. As long as you're a student, you can definitely, if you're a privately funded student, you should definitely talk to your international student advisor once you've arrived. They will set up everything for you, and you can always review it if you want to add more or add more protection. If you're a sponsored student, then your sponsor should be covering that for you, but they do make it obligatory for international students to have medical insurance. And in terms of accidents, I'm not sure like what kind of accidents you are like mentioning in the question, but I would say most insurance do cover like injuries, accidental injuries or things like that.
All right. Okay. The third question, Samira, from our viewers. Are there any attachment opportunities in research centers or private companies for working adult?
So for working adult, I'm not an expert in that, so I can't talk much about it, but I would say do try to check. Sometimes they do have it, especially if you're a postgraduate student, there are opportunities for you to do research in research centers or private companies. But if you're not a student, then I'm not that sure, sorry.
Okay, perfect. Okay, the next question. We have a lot of questions, Amira. Okay, stay with us. Is there a mobility program for student or faculty members in the US?
I Okay, if you're talking about like under the embassy, not that I am aware of, we do not have that, we do not run that kind of programs, but I would say like certain universities do have that kind of programs for spouses or faculty members of students who are going there. So let's say you are going there for a postgrad program, then there is a mobility program for your family members as well.
Alrighty. Okay, thank you, Miss Amira Kamalrudin, the Higher Education Coordinator, the US Embassy in Kuala Lumpur, for your insightful session just now. Ladies and gentlemen, as we discussed just now, we have another segment of today's event, we have another speaker that will talk about Young Southeast Asia Leadership Initiative (YSEALI). I'd like to call upon Madam Fatimah Az-Zahra Norazman to tell us what is YSEALI. Fatimah, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you so much, Dr. Hashim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Good morning, everybody. I'm Fatimah. I'm the YSEALI coordinator. We call it YSEALI here, but I've heard a lot of other names, and honestly, it doesn't matter. It's fine. So YSEALI is a Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative. It's a program that started very recently in 2013, so it's very new. It's a US government signature program that aims to provide skills and training to youth in Southeast Asian region. So all the ASEAN countries and Timor-Leste are part of the YSEALI community. It aims to strengthen leadership skills among the youth in the Southeast Asian regions and nurture Southeast Asian region as a community of network leaders who work across borders to solve a lot of common issues. Some quick facts about YSEALI. In order to be a member, actually anyone can be a member of YSEALI. I'll let you know later towards the end of my talk on how you can be a member of YSEALI. As long as you are aged between 18 to 35, you can be a member of YSEALI. You either reside, you live in any of this country, or you are born of or are from any Southeast Asian nation countries, so all 11 of them. And there are 4 major YSEALI themes: civic engagement, economic empowerment, and social entrepreneurship, education, and environmental issues. So there are a lot of programs that YSEALI run, and they are all anchored on these 4 different themes. All right, so as of now, we have 150,000 members of YSEALI network, and they engage with YSEALI through many different opportunities that YSEALI have been offering for the past 8 years. We have almost around 2,800 young leaders and mentors who have participated in US educational and professional exchanges or reciprocal exchanges in Southeast Asia. It means that they have participated in programs that took them to the United States or to other Southeast Asian countries. We have almost 3,600 youths who have attended regional programs. So exchange program under YSEALI not only take you to the United States, but also to other countries in the Southeast Asian region. I'll tell you more about it later. And YSEALI has dedicated almost $2.3 million in funding for community projects. We have invested in small organizations, in NGOs who work on different topics, different social projects in the community, such as for the women empowerment, indigenous community, people with disabilities, diversity, education, etc., etc. So there are some major YSEALI programs that we run. Number 1 is the academic fellows. And then we have professional fellows, regional workshops, Seeds for the Future, academy, and network and digital engagement. I'm going to go through them deeper one by one. So YSEALI academic fellowship, these are the pictures of those who just went to the program, just came back. So YSEALI academic fellowship is a program for people aged 18 to 25. So if you are an undergraduate, or if you are a recent graduate for about 2 years, so max 2 years after graduation, you can apply for this program to go to the US for 5-week institute at the college or university. So you will be in the university, and you'll go to courses with professors from the university to learn about leadership development, to interact with US peers, interact with your peers from other Southeast Asian countries, go on a study tour, and go on a community service. In the recent years, we have been sending our fellows to places like East West Center, Hawaii, University of Connecticut, University of Texas, Austin campus, and University of Montana. There are two applications that opens every year. It's called the fall and spring cycle. Spring cycle will be towards the end of this year, and we'll send fellows in June, during June or July, and then fall cycle will open in June, and we'll send them now September, August, September, October. So now we are in the process of sending our academic fellows to the US for the fall program. Specifically, we're looking for people who have leadership quality and strong track record in university, place of work, or community. You don't have to be really, really good, or you don't have to have a lot of experience um, um, in the work that you do, but a little bit of experience, a bit of starting point is helpful for your application. You have a bit of knowledge and experience in YSEALI teams that I stated earlier at the beginning. You are committed to serve your community, committed to volunteerism and mentorship. And then most importantly, you would want to come back to Malaysia and apply all the knowledge and skills that you learn from the program. Yeah. All right. And then next, I'm going to talk about YSEALI Professional Fellowship. It's a bit different than YSEALI Academic Fellowship in a couple of aspects. So this is some of the pictures from one of our fellows, Logita. She was posted in the US, and then she just came back last week. These are pictures where she worked, where she volunteers, and the kind of peers that she hang out with, who are mostly her peers from the Southeast Asian countries who also went on the same program and the same place as her in the US. So YSEALI Professional Fellowship are for those who are a bit older. As the name says, professional. So we are looking for emerging leaders aged 25 to 35 to spend 5 weeks in the US, including 4 weeks working directly with US counterparts, NGOs, state and local government, private sector offices, depending on your areas of interest. So we have sent professional fellows who work on NGOs, such as Logita earlier. She worked at a local food charity NGO. We have sent people to work at the mayor's office. We have sent one person who gets to work at the state senator's office in Hawaii. Yeah. And then so when you go there, you are technically working with them. So you're not really learning that's the difference between academic and professional fellowship. Professional fellowship, we go and attend courses, academic fellowship, you go and attend courses, but professional fellowship, you go there in the capacity of a working adult. So you get to learn how these different institutions work and then come back and apply to your workplace. The application cycle open once a year. We just closed this year's application on August 5th. So these applicants will fly next year starting June. The next application will open next year for 2024 cohort. So for professional fellowship, we're looking for a bit more established individuals. You have had some work in civic engagement, economic empowerment, governance and society, or sustainable development and the environment. You must have a bit more experience, bit more connection, and have a clearer goal on what you want to do in the US and after you've come back from the US. The age limit is 35, so I think a lot of you here still have plenty of time to build the profile in order to apply for the professional fellowship. And then we have regional workshops. So this is one of the exchange programs where we don't send we don't send participants to the US. This is regional because the program happens around the region. It's a professional development program to develop practical skills, learn about regional problems, and collaborate on finding solutions. The topics are very different because it's strategic to the local context. So it's very regional in that sense. It's not really US centric as compared to academic and professional fellowship. It happens all the time. And it covers different topic, and the topic are more specific. For example, in the past, we have regional workshops hosted by US Embassy Philippines in good governance, which concluded in August. And then we also have a regional workshop hosted by US Embassy Vietnam on enhancing human capital in health. So the topics are very specific. And then we also have diversity and inclusion regional workshop, which just ended 2 weeks ago. We had it here in KL, and let me show you some of the pictures from the past regional workshop. So this is a regional workshop on digital connectivity. So we gather university students, policy, people working in policies, young professionals, people working in corporate, NGOs who want to work on enhancing and bridging the digital gap between rural and urban communities. We gathered them together, 100 of them coming from all 11 Southeast Asian countries in Kuching, Sarawak. And then we had a 4-day workshop there. So this is the photo of the cultural dinner night. That's why everyone is wearing the cultural attire. And then we just recently concluded diversity and inclusion workshop to just have a conversation about diversity inclusion and how can these participants advocate for diversity and inclusion in their respective community. We're very happy with this program because we try to be as diverse and inclusive, and we managed to get participants who are deaf, who needs interpreter, blind participants, and we also have a participant who's in a wheelchair. So yeah, practicing diversity and inclusion while also providing an avenue for people to talk about diversity and inclusion in the workplace. And then this is a good governance workshop that happened in Manila early August. So in all these regional workshops, the embassies in all these countries who host them will fly participants from all across Southeast Asia to the location and have the workshop there. And then the next program we have is YSEALI Seeds for the Future. It's a small grant competitions for young leaders in Southeast Asia who are YSEALI members. So anyone is eligible as long as you're YSEALI members. You can get up to $15,000 to help fund your project to improve your communities, countries, and regions, as long as the projects are under the YSEALI themes that I mentioned earlier. There's a link here you can go to find out more about the project, or you can just Google Seeds for the Future YSEALI and you can find it on the Google search engine. So this is one of the projects that we funded earlier this year. It's called Kami Untuk Semua. They're all Malaysians. They're all Malaysians and they're all YSEALI members. Kami Untuk Semua is an organization established to empower female students to be advocates against inequality through online capacity building and campaigning. It was run online because at that time the restrictions were quite tight, so there's no opportunity to do in-person camps. But they got $15,000 to help fund the project, and they actually did a lot of things. They managed to achieve many different things. They did a lot of programs with school students, especially the girls. The link to the website is there if you want to go see what they have done, or you want to collaborate with them, you can go ahead and do that. And then we have YSEALI Academy at FUV. It's very academic, very, very scholar-centered. It's for executive level or mid-level professionals, where you go to the FUV Fulbright University in Vietnam to attend seminars. Usually it's between 4 to 5 days, and the topics are also very, very, very specific, like technology, innovation, public policy, and entrepreneurship. You have to be an executive or mid-level professionals with a certain qualifications to be able to apply for this program. And they fly you to the Fulbright University in Vietnam for the program. And then we have YSEALI Network and Digital Engagement. This one is very open. It doesn't have too many qualifications. It's not that restricted. It's generally an online platform that connect leaders from across the regions to offer networking opportunities and professional trainings. A lot of people sign up on YSEALI Network and Digital Engagement to attend online courses, to meet with peers from other Southeast Asian countries to talk about common issues and how can you support each other to solve this kind of issues. People also talk about leadership, entrepreneurship, and other professional skills. So like you come with a specific interest on what you what you want to talk about, and then you can select the kind of like programs YSEALI learns would offer you. So recently they just concluded YSEALI learns on civic engagements. So there are a lot of young people who work from the CSO join. So CSO is civil society organizations join the program to understand about civic engagements, because they bring speakers and they have contents who were very diverse and generally good quality. Yeah, that's all about YSEALI for now. If you are not a member yet, go ahead and register as a member, because you will get updates on opportunities from not just US Embassy Kuala Lumpur, but also from all US embassies across the Southeast Asian regions. You'll get opportunities for YSEALI program. You'll get updates on opportunities and programs under YSEALI in general. Also follow YSEALI official on social media, because that's where we update everything that's going on, everything that's going to happen in the region. I have my email there, my phone number. If you want to contact me personally, if you have any questions about YSEALI as well. Thank you so much. And programs under YSEALI in general. Also follow YSEALI official.
All right. Thank you, Fatimah Az-Zahra. For the viewers, Fatimah Az-Zahra is a cultural affairs assistant for the US Embassy in Kuala Lumpur. Fatimah, I think I'm not qualified for the fellowship, right?
I'm not allowed to give any comments.
Alrighty. Okay. I think we have a few questions. I think that we will have to tackle this. Question number one: how to be a member for YSEALI?
I shared a link earlier on how you can sign up to be a member of YSEALI. Otherwise, if you Google YSEALI, you will the first thing that appear on the website is the YSEALI website, and it will take you to the link where you can sign up as a member.
Okay. Question number two, Ameera. Sorry, Fatimah. Any programs for 35 years and above? I think I'm interested to know the answer.
So the youth age that is defined under the US government is 18 to 35. So if you are above 35, there are also other programs, but definitely not under YSEALI. Like my colleague Akash mentioned earlier, the Fulbright, and then IVLP programs. You can always go to our social media, US Embassy Kuala Lumpur, or visit the website, because that's also where we post all our opportunities, regardless of age, and programs under the US Embassy. So if you are above 35, there are also other programs, but definitely not under YSEALI. Like Akash mentioned earlier, the Fulbright, and then IVLP programs.
All right. The third question: do YSEALI fund any academic research?
We don't have specific fund for academic research, because our fundings are focused more on community work. But unless the academic research is a component of a larger community work, then you can always submit your proposal when we open our different grants, such as the Seeds for the Future, and see, and I mean, if you can justify how your academic research under the bigger project can qualify you for the grant, then we definitely look into that. But specifically academic research, no, we don't fund.
All right then. I think that's about all, Fatima. If there is no YSEALI, we can say all Southeast Asia Leadership Initiative. Yeah, we change from Y to O.
Yes.
But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and all the viewers, that has been a very fruitful session. Okay, for the program Embassy, speaker programs, education, and exchange opportunities in the United States of America. the program organized by the Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, UiTM Cawangan Pulau Pinang, and the US Embassy in Kuala Lumpur. So, folks, we hope that you have enjoyed the presentation and the program, and we hope to see you again for another edition of FPHP UiTM CPP programs. Till then, hasta la vista, hasta luego, ciao, assalamualaikum. Okay, we have another request from the committees. We'd like to take the picture for the report and for our memorabilia. Perhaps for those who are online, can switch on your camera. We have another request from the committees. We'd like to take a picture for the report and for our memorabilia. Perhaps for those who are online. Hi, Nisa.
Hi Dr. Hashim, hi Dr. Hidayah. Hai semua. Thank you so much for organizing this talk. It
That's
went
in
well.
KL, hujan tak? In KL.
Sorry, what?
Is it raining in KL?
No. Right now
No,
it's
yeah?
sun. Yeah.
Right. It's gloomy here in Bukit Mertajam.
Oh, lately KL also has heavy rain.
If you guys come to Penang, do contact us. We go for some teh tarik or nasi kandar, yeah?
Okay.
Fatimah, Ameera, and Nina, and Nisa.
Will do, Doctor.
Okay, so we take a picture. Okay, in count 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. One more. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
All right. For the attendance, okay, for those who are still online, okay, we would like to have you for you to register for the attendance. And of course, before we forget, if you have any question or concern regarding on study and education in the US, you will might go to their Facebook, Education USA Malaysia, or their Instagram, Education USA Malaysia. For the attendance, okay, for those who are still online, okay, we would like